At 90 years old, Julie Andrews is quietly preparing for what many fans are calling a heartfelt goodbye. For decades, her voice, presence, and grace defined an era of entertainment that now feels almost impossible to recreate. From timeless musical performances to unforgettable film roles, Julie Andrews became more than a star. She became a symbol of warmth, elegance, and emotional comfort for generations around the world. What makes this moment so emotional is not just her age, but the way she has chosen to step back. There are no dramatic announcements, no loud farewell tours, and no attention-seeking statements. Instead, there is a gentle shift. A soft closing of that has remained open for over half a century. Fans have begun to notice the signs: fewer public appearances, reflective interviews, and subtle messages that feel like quiet gratitude rather than celebration. Julie Andrews' journey has never been about chasing attention. Even at the height of her fame, she carried herself with humility and dignity, allowing her work to speak louder than headlines. Now, as she looks back on a life filled with music, storytelling, and connection, the emotions surrounding her goodbye feel deeply personal, not just for her, but for everyone who grew up with her voice echoing through their homes. This is not the end of a career, it is the closing of a legacy that has already shaped history. And as fans come to terms with this moment, one question remains: how does the world say goodbye to someone who helped define its happiest memories? Julie Andrews' journey into entertainment did not begin with instant fame or effortless success. From an early age, her extraordinary vocal ability set her apart, but talent alone was never the full story. She trained rigorously, learning discipline, control, and emotional expression long before the world knew her name. Those early years shaped not only her voice but her character, teaching her patience and humility, qualities that would later define her public image. When Julie finally emerged on the global stage, she arrived with a presence that felt timeless. Audiences didn't just hear her sing, they felt comforted by her warmth and sincerity. Her performances carried a rare balance of technical perfection and emotional honesty, something that made her instantly relatable across generations. She wasn't trying to be larger than life, she simply was life, reflected through music and storytelling. Her rise coincided with a changing entertainment industry, one that was hungry for optimism, grace, and sincerity. Julie became a symbol of that era, embodying hope during times when audiences desperately needed it. Her work resonated not because it was flashy or loud, but because it felt genuine. Families gathered around screens to watch her films, and her voice became part of childhood memories for millions. Despite worldwide fame, Julie remained remarkably grounded. She avoided scandals, distanced herself from unnecessary drama, and focused instead on meaningful work. Colleagues often described her as professional, kind, and deeply respectful of everyone on set, regardless of status. This reputation wasn't crafted for publicity. It was a reflection of who she truly was. As the years passed, Julie gracefully adapted to the changing landscape of entertainment. She explored different forms of storytelling, including voice work, writing, and mentoring. Rather than clinging to the spotlight, she allowed her career to evolve naturally, choosing projects that aligned with her values rather than her fame. This quiet confidence only deepened the respect audiences had for her. However, behind the elegance and composure, Julie's journey was not without struggle. She faced personal setbacks that tested her resilience, moments when stepping away seemed inevitable. Yet even during these challenges, she never allowed bitterness to define her outlook. Instead, she embraced gratitude, focusing on what she could still offer rather than what had been lost. Now, at 90, Julie Andrews' legacy feels complete not because she is finished, but because she has given everything with grace. Her influence reaches far beyond performances. It lives in the standards she set for professionalism, kindness, and artistic integrity. She showed the world that longevity is not about staying visible. It's about staying meaningful. As fans reflect on her life's work, it becomes clear that Julie Andrews did more than entertain. She shaped how stories could be told with sincerity, how fame could be carried with dignity, and how a life in the public eye could still remain deeply human. Her journey reminds us that true greatness doesn't shout. It gently stays with us long after the curtain falls. While Julie Andrews was admired around the world for her grace and optimism, very few people truly understood the quiet challenges she faced away from the spotlight. To audiences, she seemed untouched by hardship, always composed, always radiant. But behind that calm exterior was a woman navigating the pressures of fame, personal sacrifice, and moments of deep uncertainty, experiences that shaped her strength in ways the public rarely saw. One of the most defining moments of her life came when her greatest gift, her voice, faced unexpected limitations. For someone whose identity was so closely tied to sound and expression, this change was emotionally profound. It forced Julie to reimagine her place in the world of entertainment and confront fears she had never voiced publicly. Yet, instead of retreating into bitterness, she chose adaptation, exploring new creative avenues that allowed her to remain connected to storytelling. These transitions were not easy. Stepping away from what once came effortlessly required humility and courage. Julie approached these moments with remarkable acceptance, understanding that life's value isn't measured by what remains unchanged, but by how one responds to change. Her ability to move forward without resentment became one of her most admirable qualities. Beyond professional challenges, Julie also experienced the emotional weight of maintaining a private life in a public world. Relationships, family responsibilities, and personal growth all unfolded under constant scrutiny. Yet she consistently protected her inner circle, choosing discretion over exposure. This decision allowed her to preserve a sense of normalcy and emotional stability, even as the world watched her every move. Those close to her often described her as thoughtful, reflective, and deeply empathetic. She listened more than she spoke, observed more than she reacted. These traits shaped not only her personal relationships, but also her approach to life's difficulties. Rather than allowing setbacks to define her, she viewed them as of growth, necessary pauses that brought clarity and perspective. As time passed, Julie embraced roles that aligned with her evolving voice, both literally and figuratively. She found fulfillment in mentoring younger artists, sharing lessons learned through decades of experience. In doing so, she ensured that her influence extended beyond performance, touching lives in quieter but equally powerful ways. Now, as fans sense a gentle farewell, it's these unseen struggles that make her story even more meaningful. Julie Andrews' journey was never about perfection. It was about resilience, adaptability, and grace under pressure. Her ability to remain hopeful, kind, and purposeful, despite personal challenges, offers a powerful reminder that strength often reveals itself in silence. This stage of her life invites reflection, not sorrow. It highlights a woman who lived fully, loved deeply, and faced life's uncertainties with dignity. Julie Andrews may be stepping back from public life, but the lessons she embodied, patience, compassion, and resilience, continue to resonate. Her story proves that true legacy is not built on uninterrupted success, but on the courage to evolve when the world changes around you. There have been many farewells in the entertainment world, but Julie Andrews' quiet goodbye feels profoundly different. It isn't marked by spectacle or celebration, but by reflection and gratitude. At 90, she is not stepping away because she has been forgotten, but because she has already given more than most artists ever could. This distinction is what makes the moment so emotionally powerful for fans across generations. Julie's presence has always been associated with comfort and trust. Audiences welcomed her into their homes, their childhoods, and their family traditions. Her voice carried reassurance, her performances offered warmth, and her demeanor inspired calm. When someone so deeply woven into personal memories begins to step back, the sense of loss feels personal, almost familial. What also sets this moment apart is the way Julie has handled it. Rather than framing her departure as an ending, she has approached it as a transition. Subtle remarks, reflective conversations, and thoughtful expressions of gratitude suggest a woman at peace with her journey. There is no bitterness, no regret, only appreciation for a life well lived and a career guided by purpose rather than ambition. Fans have responded not with shock, but with quiet acknowledgement. Many understand that this goodbye is not about absence, but about preservation. Julie Andrews is choosing dignity over exhaustion, reflection over repetition. In doing so, she is once again setting an example, this time not for performers, but for anyone learning how to let go with grace. Her influence has also evolved with time. While she may no longer appear regularly, her work continues to inspire new generations through rediscovery. Younger audiences encounter her performances not as nostalgia, but as timeless storytelling. This ongoing relevance underscores why her goodbye does not feel like a disappearance, it feels like a handoff. A gentle passing of inspiration from one generation to the next. There's also a deeper emotional layer to this moment. Julie's journey represents a connection to an era that valued sincerity over spectacle. As entertainment continues to change rapidly, her presence serves as a reminder of storytelling rooted in humanity. Saying goodbye to her feels like saying goodbye to that feeling of simplicity, warmth, and emotional honesty. Yet, this farewell is not defined by sadness. It is shaped by gratitude. Fans are not mourning what they are losing, but celebrating what they were given. Julie Andrews has already left an indelible mark, one that does not fade with time or absence. Her influence remains present in music, film, literature, and the countless lives she touched through her work. Ultimately, this goodbye feels different because it is not forced. It arrives naturally, like the closing of a beloved book whose story lingers long after. Julie Andrews is not leaving behind emptiness. She is leaving behind fullness. And as fans come to terms with this moment, they are reminded that some legacies are so complete. They never truly end. As Julie Andrews reaches this reflective stage of her life, it becomes clear that her farewell is not about stepping away from relevance, but about embracing peace. At 90, she has nothing left to prove and no expectations left to meet. Her journey stands complete, shaped not by how long she stayed in the spotlight, but by how deeply she touched the world while she was there. What makes Julie's legacy so enduring is the sincerity behind every performance. She never relied on excess or shock to hold attention. Instead, she offered honesty, warmth, and emotional clarity, qualities that transcend trends and time. These elements allowed her work to remain meaningful long after its release, continuing to resonate with audiences who discover it years later. Julie's influence reaches far beyond entertainment. She set an example of how success can coexist with humility, how fame can be carried without ego, and how change can be met with grace rather than resistance. Her ability to adapt, to let go when necessary, and to find purpose beyond performance speaks to a life guided by wisdom rather than fear. For fans, this moment is less about loss and more about gratitude. Julie Andrews gave generations a sense of comfort, optimism, and emotional connection. Her voice became part of childhood memories, family traditions, and personal milestones. Those experiences do not disappear simply because she chooses to step back. They remain woven into lives across the world. Her farewell also offers a rare lesson in how to end a journey beautifully. There is no rush, no drama, and no attempt to control how she is remembered. Instead, Julie trusts that her work speaks for itself. That confidence comes only from a life lived with integrity and intention. Even now, her presence continues through the artists she inspired, the stories she helped shape, and the standards she set. She leaves behind not a gap, but a foundation, one built on kindness, professionalism, and emotional truth. Future generations may reinterpret entertainment in new ways, but the values Julie embodied will always remain relevant. As fans say goodbye, they are not closing a door. They are honoring a legacy that already lives within them. Julie Andrews does not fade, she endures. Her journey reminds us that true impact is not measured by visibility, but by connection. And connections like hers do not end. They evolve. At 90, Julie Andrews is not disappearing from the world she helped shape. She is simply stepping into a quieter space, leaving behind a legacy so complete that it requires no farewell. Her voice, her grace, and her spirit remain timeless, comforting, and forever unforgettable.